Boaty's taking up the camera. The Boaty.
Hello darlings, and once again you join us for a spot of lunch in the old caravan. Oh yes.
Well, today Mustard has been particularly greedy,
Nice.
which you will agree with.
Yes. As you might expect, we have of course been to Istanbul, which is our eating house of choice of late. Well, not even of late.
And that is it. Right, so lentil curry, which would be very nice, but it's not what I asked for.
Is it not?
No, I asked for chickpea, but I'm not really bothered. This will do. It's not as good as the chicken.
You know what we haven't done for a while? Said grace.
Yeah, I know.
Can I say grace? Dear Lord, please forgive Captain Mustard and all of the other wrongdoers. But before you forgive them, Lord, please smite them. Please smite all of the wrongdoers and infidels, just to force them to give their head a wobble. And then, when they've realised, then please forgive them. But please smite them first.
How spiteful of you.
Thank you, Lord, and take care. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Just because you're in with him, you know, you're best pals with him and all that.
Everybody can be in with him. He's there for us all. He's an all-encompassing type of Lord. He's like public libraries. They're there for everybody, but not everybody uses them or even sees the point in them. But everybody who gets pleasure from reading and from great literature thinks that those who don't are really missing out. This salad is fucking shocking.
Yeah, I thought that.
Have to pick the worthwhile bits out of it.
That's very interesting that you should say that it's like a public library. It's open to everyone to use,
Yeah?
but instead we have Google now, don't we? So what would you say is the modern day equivalent of religion?
Religion.
Religion. But it's not the same, is it?
Of course it's the same. In what way is it
I
not
said
the same?
equivalent, not...
Well, there is no equivalent to religion. You might argue that there are replacements. But they're not really replacements. You know,
Not new.
there's nothing that can genuinely replace, you know, a good acknowledgement of or fear of the Lord.
But what's best, Google or a library?
A library, obviously. You can't read the complete works of Shakespeare on Google.
Can you not?
Look,
Well, is it not allowed?
well, because it's not there.
Well, how do you know?
Okay, I don't know how to answer that.
Well, I don't see why it wouldn't be there.
What is Google?
Oh, well, it's a search engine.
Right, so
So take you somewhere where you can read it all.
that's a possibility.
Right. Is that what you meant?
What do you mean?
That Google will take you somewhere?
No.
Or that you can't go onto Google and find the complete works of William Shakespeare.
You won't find it on Google. And you said, what's better, Google or a library? Well, Google's a search engine. So obviously a library is better. You can't read a search engine.
Right, that's what I thought you meant. Which is just you being pedantic.
Well, it's just me taking words.
Literally.
Yeah. As
That's
well.
fine. I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with you doing that.
That's not pedantry. That's just, you're pretending that Google is something it isn't.
No, I'm not.
So that's like saying, what do you prefer? A prostitute called Kaylee from Rochdale or a library? And I'd say, well, you can read the complete works of Shakespeare in a library. And you could say you could read one, Kaylee the prostitute, as well. And I'd say, well, how would that work? And you said, because she could take you to a library. Or pull them up on her iPad or something when she's not prostituting.
Prostituting is a verb.
Not a valid argument.
Well, it would have been if you hadn't turned it into something else.
That's something else being turning into what it actually is.
No,
This is why.
it's not.
This is why you don't like the idea of God. You don't like being held to account. And you know that God would hold you to account.
For what?
And, you know, you can make tricky arguments against me. But you try making them against God.
And what makes you think I won't be able to, hold my own with him? Imagine that on your CV. Beat God in an argument.
There's one very good reason why you would never beat God in an argument.
Doesn't exist.
Because you believe he doesn't exist.
But that's why then, isn't it?
So even if God showed himself to you and said, is this the right room for an argument? You would think that you'd just beaten some random person in an argument. Because you wouldn't accept that it was God.
How would God present himself to me so I knew who he was?
Well, I mean, he could say, hi, I'm God.
Where from?
What do you mean, where from?
Well, would I get an email or something?
No, he'd just pop along.
Yeah. But how would I see him?
Through the gift of eyesight.
Right. But how would I see him? What would he look like?
Well,
How would I know that I'm talking to the real God?
okay. Right.
Would it be-
So, you're alone in your bedroom. I don't know where Mrs. Mustard is, but you're alone in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Now, suddenly something appears in front of you that says, hello, I'm God. It's got 8 noodly appendages and 2 rather large meatballs. What are you going to think that is, if not God?
I would be very surprised. And honoured as well. Because if God was to turn up and show himself in person, whilst everybody else just has to simply believe he's there, I'd be impressed.
Hang on, what makes you think nobody else has seen him in person?
Well, who has seen him in person?
Many people. How would anybody know what he looked like if nobody had seen him?
Well, I didn't think it was about knowing what he looked like. It was about just believing he was there.
But that's why people believe that he's there, because they've seen him.
Right. That's a much better way. They've seen him with their own eyes that we can prove are not under any kind of drugs.
Well, we can't prove that.
That's the trouble, isn't it? We need proof. Without proof, it's a theory.
Yeah, but proof denies faith, and without faith, God is nothing. So if you proved he exists, that would prove that he doesn't.
Proof denies faith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So you said it there. That if you need proof, you're not going to find it. Yeah.
Proof doesn't exist.
Proof doesn't exist. Well, proof. Proof doesn't exist of the noodly appendage.
Proof doesn't exist of anything. Proof is a non-existing thing.
As long as you go abstract enough, then you can always say that, can't you?
Well,
Proof, as we understand what proof to actually mean,
is non-existent.
well, proof isn't actually a thing, is it? Is what
No,
you're saying.
nobody can prove anything.
Okay. That could work for me. So, in other words, I can't even prove that I'm sat here talking to you.
No, you absolutely can't.
To you.
No, we just both believe that you are.
Later on, you could go home and message me and say, I came all the way to your place on my day off and you weren't even there. You scoundrel, how come you didn't tell me you weren't going to be at work? Well, you hadn't messaged your phone or answered your phone or messaged me or anything like that all day. I wasted a whole day on you not being at work. And I wouldn't be able to argue against that, would I?
You could.
I wouldn't be able to successfully argue against it and prove that I was here. Well, I could say, well, I was here. We had lunch together. We sat in the caravan and talked about proof and God and religion and milk. We practiced a podcast, which didn't go very well. And he said, no, that's not proof. No, you weren't there. And you could just stick with it, couldn't you?
You have to go with the balance of probabilities, don't you? And
You're saying I probably was here.
there's enough stacking up for us both to believe that this is happening,
Yeah.
in the sense that we understand it. Well, it's exactly the same thing with God. There's enough there to make any logical, rational person accept that it must be the truth.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're right.
I mean, I'm right. But it's like when you get an email off of someone saying, you're in charge of someone's estate and they've got no family, and we just need somebody to give all this money to. We need you to reply and then send a message off to this agency and then giving you, your credit card details and stuff like this, and then we'll release all the money for you. You have to believe that they're going to do it. But at that stage, I'd be thinking, the trouble is I don't believe it. And maybe they're genuine. Maybe they do have like £50 million to just give to someone who's prepared to just take the chance and say, right, well, here's my £100 administration fee.
But if it was true, they
million?
wouldn't need the £100 administration fee.
No, they'd have reasons for it, wouldn't they?
No.
They've got to prove that you're a real person that they're giving the money to.
Yeah, but that doesn't cost £100.
Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe this. That's just the thing, and that's what God is to me.
You'd have to be crazy.
You'd have to be crazy, yeah.
But you're talking about a scam.
Yeah.
Well, God's not a scam.
Prove it.
Proof as a concept doesn't exist.
No.
And
What's happened in your life to make you believe in God?
he appeared and spoke to me.
He appeared and spoke to you. Okay. Tell me about it. If you want.
Well, it's difficult because when it happens on an astral plane, not on the plane that we understand. See, the brain is capable of things that we don't understand yet.
Yeah. Well,
So
that is true.
it's been proven scientifically
Are you sure?
that a dying brain gives off an incredible amount of electrical impulses. But we don't know what those electrical impulses can and can't do. Now, there's plenty of anecdotal evidence or stories of people getting a vision of a loved one very strongly in their head, maybe their voice, their sense, their smell, and they might be on the other side of the world, and then they find out that that happened at the exact time that the person passed away. There are so many reported instances of that. So, is the brain capable of making that happen? And is the brain capable of receiving that? Well, we don't know.
Well, we can't prove it does or doesn't.
Mm.
And anecdotal's not evidence anyway.
And that's kind of how God appears and communicates with you. God's never going to send you an email. He's not going to ring you up for a chat. He just kind of appears in your brain. And the only way I can describe it is when it happens, you just think, oh, now it makes sense. And you feel better. That's what I remember more than anything else. You're just thinking, okay, wasn't expecting that. Now it makes sense.
Did you have
A wank? No.
Did you have a near-death experience
When?
at the time that was
Oh,
happening?
no. No, not at all. You and I are both quite poor, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, in many ways we're blessed. We've got friends, you've got family. We both have a nice roof over our head, and we're both fortunate enough to be eating too much really lovely food. But we are both quite poor financially. Now, imagine if you had £500,000 in the bank. Right? Now, you wouldn't go around the whole day looking at your online bank statement, would you?
I would for the first day.
But not on an ongoing basis
Oh.
for the rest of your life. But do you think that in some sense you would have somewhere at the back of your mind just a sense of comfort and well-being, knowing that that money was there and everything that it represented?
Yeah, I would.
Well,
And I know where you're going with this.
yeah, that's like the relationship that you have with God.
Yeah, and what you're saying is that can only be a healthy thing.
I believe so, yeah. What's the downside?
Do you pray?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You never mentioned it before. Well, I've seen you do your grace thing, but I don't know how. Whether you're doing it the same way that I do it. Because if you're not, then I'm going to be really pissed off with you later on when I get smited.
Smitten. You need a good smiting. You know, God has a sense of humour. He knows when. No, I sincerely pray every night. In my own way. I mean, I'm surrounded, of course, by very devout people. So we all pray. And I enjoy that. Oh!
What?
And I enjoy being surrounded by devout people. In fact, there's going to be an episode of my forthcoming Welsh series where I go to the one and only Nepali Hindu temple in South Wales. I'm not looking forward to it. In a way.
You don't know where it is?
I know where it is, but I'm not allowed to eat meat for 24 hours before visiting.
Oh.
I think that'll make a very good video.
Well, it doesn't sound like the biggest challenge, not eating meat for 24 hours.
Maybe not.
If it was something else like not drinking for 24 hours or not blinking for 24 hours, that would be a really difficult one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then I typically eat meat twice a day. And always have to. I mean, you're right, it's not a big challenge. I could eat, I could have beans on toast for lunch. And then I could have rajma for my evening meal.
That's milk based, isn't it?
What?
Rajma.
No.
Get it mixed up with something else. What is it?
Kidney beans.
I don't know why, but
It's
I just imagine you really wouldn't like kidney beans.
one of my very favourite things. Now, back in the day when I was married, Mrs. Boaty used to enjoy watching I'm a Celebrity get me out of here. Which meant that I had to watch it as well. And of course, their basic diet, if they didn't win any of the things they had to win, was rice and kidney beans. I could live on that perfectly happily. Jamaican rice and peas? Brilliant.
You realised we haven't agreed on anything today.
No, we haven't, have we? That's probably quite healthy.
Yeah, I reckon.
We did agree to go to Istanbul for lunch.
Well, we didn't even agree. We just went there.
Yeah, we did. Well, this doesn't happen often. Are you not able to
Oh, I
finish
forgot
it?
about
What?
That bra. Or that bikini top. I just saw this string dangling down there.
Boobs are great, aren't they?
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Right. This doesn't happen very often. What me getting filled up before the food's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And you managed to achieve that by ordering 2 lunches.
Well, 1.5.
Excuse me.
What's that? 25 minutes. Unusually, we've chatted all the way through the lunch. Maybe that's why I'm full up. Because like what I normally do is just trot my food. I was too busy disagreeing with you.
What else would you like to disagree with me about? What do you think I've got wrong in life?
Oh. That's a bun.
What aspect of my life would you like to disagree with, or life choice that I've made, or what do you think I'm doing wrong?
I think you're too tall.
I was criticising you a lot earlier.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Not directly, I was just agreeing with other people who criticised you.
Yeah, we were all wrong. As per my argument against it. Which was, then, you rather than saying something different, just saying the same thing again.
I just happen to agree with them.
That's because you come here once a week and complain about the caravan not being tidy. As if I've got nothing else better to do.
So what do you think that I've got wrong, or that I'm doing wrong?
With what? Your life, generally.
Yeah, anything.
Associated with me, of course.
That's the best bit.
Yo.
Oh,
You're full.
I'm parched.
Makes a nice change. I have to go and make a cup of tea in a minute with some milk in.
I'll save that for an early supper.
That would be an early supper, wouldn't it?
I get hungry about 7 o'clock.
And most of the time you don't have anything to eat.
Huh?
Most of the time you just carry on going.
Well, no, most of the time I'm at the restaurant.
Oh, so you can have a nibble. See, I didn't know that. You gave me the impression that you eat one piece of toast in the morning.
I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you have your lunch about 2:30.
Correct?
Every day.
Yeah.
And then you have your supper.
Yeah.
And nothing in between. And I've always thought, how come he's not really skinny then?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because of the grazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Although, we have a thing at work now where if you eat anything at work, you have to give everybody else in the kitchen £1.
Right.
If you eat something apart from your staff meal, like if you eat a chip or something, and it's become insanely cheaty because we're all just doing it trying not to be seen. If you're not seen, it doesn't count.
No. I absolutely agree. But working in a restaurant is going to make you hungry, isn't it? Or is it?
Good question.
Or is it the Same kind of thing as working in a sweet
in a
factory.
chocolate factory or something. I don't know. I do get upset by the waste sometimes.
Customer wasting food.
Which is a bit high-handed of me, really. You know, they pay for it. End of story.
Oh yeah. I know.
We had a chap in with a guide dog the other night. He was lovely.
A lovely guide dog chap.
Well, the dog was lovely, and the chap was
right.
lovely.
Last thing I want will be to go into any kind of restaurant as a dog.
Really? Why?
It's a joke, isn't it? Not really suggesting it would get eaten. Fancying that now.
So would you drink human milk?
Well, I'd have to try it, see if I could accustom to the taste.
I mean, if all animal milk became illegal overnight, so basically all lactating women suddenly became incredibly rich
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they?
because they sold their breast milk.
Yeah.
Would you use it, and would you feel differently about it?
I would definitely feel differently about it.
Why?
Well, the fact is that we live in a world where you don't even see the milk, do you? You just see it in a bottle.
Well, you can still see it in the bottle because a lot of the time the bottles are see-through. Especially the glass ones.
Do you want to just kick you? Did you ever drink milk when you was at school?
No.
So when did you stop?
When my mother stopped producing it.
So that was it. And did she say you're not allowed to have this, or you don't need milk? When did you decide that you wasn't going to drink the stuff, or was it decided for you?
When it ceased to become available.
So in your household there was no such. You didn't have milk in the fridge.
No.
Right.
Oh! I've told a lie. Yeah. Yeah. We did for a period.
Right.
But as soon as I became old enough to explain what they were doing wrong, then my parents agreed and stopped drinking milk. So then there was no milk in the house.
So you talked your parents into not having milk.
Yeah,
How old was you then?
6,
Smart boy.
maybe 7.
Not so smart then.
Yeah, because they both used to have milk in their coffee, and my dad used to have cereal, Alpen, but they soon stopped.
Yeah, breakfast cereal with water instead. Doesn't.
Well,
You have porridge with water.
yeah.
So maybe it would, as muesli's mostly porridge oats in the first place. Maybe it would work.
Yeah, or, maybe just, cereal's not a good thing, is it? I mean, cereal is just intended for drug-taking students who can't be bothered to cook late at night.
But no, I do agree with you on that. Actually, cereals are they claim to be good, but they're not really. They're just hyper-processed foods.
That's why the name Killer's after them.
Cereal, yeah, killers, yeah.
In fact,
What about porridge? Do you think porridge is good though?
I think porridge is good.
Yeah, porridge is the only one that's any good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just porridge cooked in water with a bit of salt.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's not something I'd want for myself, but...
Right. But you'd agree that that's actually not a bad thing to have.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would.
But then, back on the butter thing.
Yeah.
No, you would agree that proper butter is nicer than the pretend stuff, yeah?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
Right.
Because proper butter, if you're honest about it, all you can really taste is guilt and shame. Now, some people enjoy the taste of guilt and shame.
And shame, yeah.
Paedophiles, shoplifters, speeding motorists, politicians.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons.
Who's that?
He's a doctor.
Oh, is it?
I think he was an actor.
Maybe you played a doctor then.
He probably did. If you could bring back one serial killer to question or just have a conversation with, who would it be?
Eileen Warnock.
Ah.
Eileen Warnock, because in my mind, I would like, if I could bring her back, she would tell the truth, I think. Because there'd be no reason for her not to tell the truth.
I don't know.
And I would like to know, and I'm not the only one.
What would you like to know?
Well, she proclaimed throughout the beginning that all of her killings were in self-defense. And that if you kill in self-defense, then that is mitigation.
Yeah.
And that it shouldn't be about a number, just because if you kill in self-defense 3, 4, 5 times, that shouldn't automatically make you into a serial killer with no mitigation. It just means that you happen to constantly be in, or frequently be in, a situation where you're at high risk.
Yeah.
And she was a prostitute working in very high risk areas, and you know, she was frequently, she had a history of abuse, familial abuse, throughout her childhood, as an adult, and then in a career as a hitchhiking hooker, she was abused then as well. And it got to a point where the abuse got to a point where she said, I'm not going to stand for this anymore. And if a client was respectful to her, then she was very respectful to them. If a client tried to abuse her or rape her or do anything, she killed them.
How did she do it?
Shot them.
Oh, right. So she had a loaded gun ready.
Yeah, but all Americans carry a loaded gun.
Yeah, it couldn't really happen in this country, could it, really?
Well, it could.
Well, only if you were a farmer. But even then, you probably wouldn't get away with it.
Well, there's loads of guns on the street.
Yeah, there's loads of guns on the streets, but you're not supposed to be using them.
You're not supposed to necessarily be using them in America.
Well, I know, but they are a bit...
But anyway, the point was that when she had about 4 or 5 death sentences, and she'd been on death row for however long it was, and she'd received a lot of abuse and whatnot in prison, then she changed the story and said, yep, I did it, no mitigation, please execute me as quickly as possible. And a lot of people think that she'd just given up hope and life was so intolerable, she just wanted to get it over with. And that her initial story was the true one.
Right, so the last thing she would want is to be brought back to life, to have an evening with Boaty.
Well, she might like having an evening with me.
Right, we've got a real treat for you. Right, forget about this rest in peace stuff. Get up, get your kit on. Boaty wants a chat.
You might be glad of it.
I did ask.
You know, she could catch up with family and whatnot while she was down there.
Yeah, why are you down this way?
I could give her a pottering.
I'd like a chat with Ted Bundy.
Okay.
I'd like to see whether he really is, or was, or he could be that charming. So you just simply could get completely sucked in and fooled by him.
I'll tell you who else I'd like to bring back. Hitler.
Oh gosh, that's a controversial one, isn't it? But then it is a controversial subject, so why not?
I mean, he must have been incredibly charismatic.
Oh yeah, he was.
So I'd like to get some hints. I mean,
Tips with Hitler.
Well, he'd have a massive YouTube channel, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, I mean, that's what people like him do these days. They just have YouTube channels and
Be a
stuff.
brilliant live stream as well.
Yeah. He'd be an influencer.
Yeah. And he'd say, well, that's it from me. You know what to do. And we'd all go, Heil Hitler! Apart from that one clever smart ass, it would probably be you who'd go, Cla! I think that would be that might be what my live stream is missing.
What?
Maybe I should become a kind of terrible, despotic.
Despotic?
Yeah, I should maybe I should become and I should force people to do things.
Do things?
Yeah, and worship me and that sort of thing.
You could award points for people's usernames.
I think I started doing that, didn't I? I awarded points for comments.
Yeah, similar kind of thing, I suppose, really.
You think points for usernames?
I did, only because I had some ones coming there. I thought, what a fantastic name that is. Because most YouTube usernames are either the person's name or something that is strung together and you can't read it.
Or Boaty's girlfriend from Liverpool, or Smelly Hole. Or...
Yeah. Smelly Hole is quite funny, actually.
You know my favourite username?
No.
Thought I heard Fart the Blues.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's genius.
That is, yeah, that's a 9 out of 10 from me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, Lisa would be grateful.
Yeah. Pendulus Knockin was one of my favourites. I think that Pendulus Knockin might have been the one that made me think that people deserve points for these kind of things.
Yeah, Pendulus Knockin is absolutely brilliant. And
that's where, mind you, some of them might come up as people who've subscribed, but I had a whole load of them that I thought were good names. And I kind of want to remember them now. No, not subscriptions. Who subscribed to me? That's what I want to know. You. What? Oh, bell icon. No, right, yes. Well, nobody with a good username's actually bothered to subscribe to me.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, you do realise that next weekend is Easter weekend? I didn't realise that.
What about it?
Oh, first thing to pop up, dented Doris. Here is a rather unglamorous but faithful little puppy called Doris. It's a Rover 25 with a 1.4 K series engine, which sounds as sweet as a sticky bun from Tesco. Which means it has a proper carpet and doesn't leak. Unable to post.
You never know what someone's going to ask next on something like that, do you? Can you post it in bits?
Oh dear.
Well, no requests to buy it yet, anyway. Well, at least I don't think so. No. Yeah, the marketplace selling a car, Rover doesn't appear in their list of cars any longer, which is why you see people trying to sell them as Land Rovers or Teslas.
Yeah, that's only because they're really, really stupid people.
I haven't found it either, but then I've also found that if you list it under cars, you get fewer views anyway, and it doesn't give you a proper title.
People really are stupid.
That's not fair, is it?
That people.
That we should have to tolerate stupid people, or that they're not really that stupid.
That they are stupid.
Bits of both.
Because rather than just type Rover in, because yeah, it no longer lists Rover in the drop-down list, but it does give you a blank option where you type in your own make.
Yeah.
So rather than type in ROVER, they'll describe it as a fucking Maserati, the thick twats. Stupidity, laziness, idiocy. I'm surrounded by it. Surrounded by it, I tell you.
You just did, yeah.
Yeah?
You went a bit Michael Gambon then.
Did I?
Yeah. Do you like Michael Gambon?
I don't know who he is.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
I'm sure you know who Michael Gambon is.
Right, how sure are you? Because I don't.
Well...
And that might be a hint as to how sure you ought to be.
See, you don't know who he is.
That's kind of what I'm trying to get across to you here.
I'm just quite surprised that you wouldn't know who Michael Gambon is.
Right, okay. I might well be surprised, because when I find out who he is, I might think, gosh, I'm surprised I didn't know who he was.
He was an actor.
Oh, okay. Was?
He was on Top Gear.
Is he dead now?
Yeah. Fairly recently.
What, he died fairly recently?
Yeah.
On Top Gear?
Almost.
Oh, hang on. Gambon Corner.
Yeah.
So he's the one who went round it on 3 wheels?
Might have been 2 actually.
2 wheels. Right. Okay. All right. Well, I should have known him as a corner.
Yeah. Oh, he's a corner, isn't he?
I don't know him as an actor.
Right. Shall
But
we go and have a cup of tea?
and a cigarette.
Yeah.
Right, well, I enjoyed that lunch. And thank you so much for watching. And, well, be sure to tune in again the next time that Mustard and Boaty do lunch. In it, bro.
In it.
They call him Matty Shippies because he shits peas. They call him Matty Shippies because he shits peas.
On Wednesdays he goes fishing because his box clogged up.
Goodbye, darlings.